welcome back to an all-new episode of R&D Garage. I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. And of course, everybody who's been there from the beginning, thank you so much. So, new year, new car, not ours unfortunately, but you guys remember my friend Nick? Well, he brought his gorgeous 2018 Alfa Romeo Giulia back, and we're going to be doing a cold air intake install on it. So I'm going to set up the parts, show you what's what, and get started. Let's do it. Okay guys, so this is what the cold air intake looks like from Eurocompulsion, which I love that name, and it came with like really cool stickers too. It's like, okay. Anyway, easily amused, I'm a crow. So here we got the cone, we have clamps, we have the splitter, we have another kind of splitter. We're not quite sure what this is going to be used for yet, but I'm sure we'll discover it along the way. We've got the elbow, we've got another elbow, silicone, and we have a bracket. So I'm super excited to get this on his car because frankly, I just want to hear what it sounds like. His car sounds so nice as it is with the exhaust, but I have a feeling once the intake gets on, it's going to be even better. So let's do it. Okay guys, so the first thing we need to do is pull the engine cover. And so this is basically two plastic clips, which I'm going to use with a little pick here. And then there's screws underneath, and then it should just kind of lift off and pull out. So we'll see. It's been a while since I worked on this car. So the two clips are right here. Oh, that's super easy. There we go. Perfect. Okay, and yes, there are a couple bolts there, and it's set to off. Beautiful. And this is, what is this, a 10 millimeter? Yes. And that is not even close to loose. It's starting to come out perfect. So this basically just loosen it until it actually comes off with the socket, because it's, if I can't get my fingers in here to finger loose and take out, you guys won't be able to. Beautiful. And actually this is where that magnetic tool might have come in handy. Yeah, because it's super loose. So you guys, it looks like these are actually captive, so they won't lift all the way out. And actually I'm matching with his car today because all black, he has red interior, got red nails. I love it when things come together. Okay, so we did a little fiddly stuff with it because it's been a long time since I worked on an Alfa, and it turns out that these bolts aren't captive. So there we go. So here's one and the other one. Perfect. Now when you're getting this little cover off, you want to make sure that, okay, it usually kind of sticks on the engine oil cap, so you want to make sure to bypass that. So you're going to pull very firmly from the back up on the plastic, and it should lift right up. So, okay, so we already bypassed the cap. So I'm going to come over here, and with one hand right here, I'm going to lift up on this. Oh, there we go. Okay, and luckily those are on string, so I won't be flinging them into Nick's engine. And so this should just lift up as well. There we go. Okay, let's set this aside and do something else. Okay, so the first step, we're going to go ahead and loosen up this clamp. It is 7 millimeter, which I don't think I've used a 7 millimeter ever, but European cars, yay! So it's literally right here. This is the clamp, and we're going to do this kind of in steps. We're going to go ahead and stop after this and then show you guys the next one. These are pretty intricate, and there's lots of clamps going on, different sizes. has been loosened. Let's move on. And now it's time for the clamp on the other end of the elbow. And this again is also 7 millimeters. Amazing how easy it is to get at when they're right out in the open. Okay, let's move on. Now we're going to go ahead and disconnect the evap sensors, and those are located right underneath the elbow, and they're kind of a bear to get out. So what you're going to do, you can probably see the yellow button on this side a little bit better than the sensor in front, but basically there's another yellow button matching it in the back, and so you squeeze both together and pull down. And on this sensor over here, it probably would have been awesome if they had made that like color version as well, but it's 2 black buttons that you're going to squeeze and pull down. So I'm going to do the one closest first. And yeah, and you may have to use 2 hands. Well, actually I have to use 2 hands because my hands aren't quite big enough, but it should just, there we go. So there's the first one is disconnected. Let's do the second one. There we go. Okay guys, both sensors are disconnected. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and disconnect this bad boy right here. Now these are a little bit, I almost want to call them crush washers. They're not, but it looks like the top is crushed. And we're used to the regular clamps that you have to use a pair of pliers, you know, squeeze and then pull off. And so these, being I guess a little bit more European, are completely different. So we don't have the normal tool that would actually pop these off. So what we're going to go ahead is use this. You're going to stick it in through the top and then just twist. And then that way you can pull it down and it'll be nice and loose. So, but again, before you pull this tube off, you're going to have to disconnect this top one first. And so this is a hard squeeze on the tabs on either side and then pull down. And you may have to actually shake the tube a little bit further to actually get it off, to disconnect it. So we're going to go ahead and do that. See, now it's disconnected right there. Now we can come along, pull that tube off. Sweet. Let's go to the next step. Okay, let's go ahead and pull off the elbow now. So you may, again, my favorite word today, or the word of the day, is shake. So that pulls off just like that. I'm going to go ahead and do the same. Oh yeah, awesome. So actually with that disconnected, do the shake over here. And it pops off. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to reconnect the evap sensors with the new part. And what's cool about this is you can see this is wider on this side than it is on this. So, I mean, I guess you could still kind of mess it up a little bit, but if you go for the wider point with the wider sensor and the thinner one with the thinner one, you're all good. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put it on the wider one first, and all you have to do is put it in, snap it down. So let's get this done. So we've got, oh yeah, oh my gosh, I love it when they have like a loud click. Perfect. How easy is that? Let's move on. Okay, now we're going to disconnect this electrical connector. And this has a red tab on the bottom, which I'll show you once it's off. You basically click it forward, you'll hear a click, just like that. And then there is actually a button in the connector that you're going to press and squeeze and pull off, just like that. So here, I'm going to show you, make sure you kind of zoom in, but there's the red tab that clicks. Well, I'm not going to press it right now, but there's the button right in the middle to press to disconnect. Easy, easy. Okay, now we're going to take out this 10mm bolt on the air box. So I'm not sure if this is a captive bolt. This is new to me, but if it is, I will let you know. Okay. Now I'm going to take this off. There we go. And it looks like, oh no, it's not captive. There we go. Perfect. I wonder if, no, it looks like it's still attached. Let's move on to the next step. So, today I learned that pulling the airbox from an Alfa really sucks. It is not fun. Okay, what you're basically dealing with is there's two tabs that you have to pull the bottom hose off of first. There's this alignment part, don't worry about that, but you'll see on each side here, there's a little hole. So you basically squeeze and yank back. But again, the space in here is just, there's no space in here. So just be careful, wear gloves, because you will cut your fingers up or your hands. And then on the underneath, you see, you're basically, there's no screws holding it other than that. So you're just gonna pull up, yank up, and there's these two mounts that pull directly out. And what happened to us was, well, I'm not gonna pull it off now, but the rubber part actually came off, and that's actually supposed to be together. So now we're gonna go give you a bird's eye view. So we've got the two where the mounts go in, right there and right there, and that's the hose that really, really sucks. Okay, let's move on. Okay guys, this is so bunged up here. I have to come up with a way to put bung in a sentence because, yeah. Okay, so we're removing this plastic piece right here. The math, basically, which also, I keep wanting to say math, but it comes out, but it's actually math, M-A-F. So it's kind of getting Mike Tyson vibes, but whatever. So there's two bolts, one right here, 5/32. Like, I think that's another size I haven't used before, but we're gonna go ahead. And since it's plastic, you wanna be very careful. Go ahead, push it in tight, break it. No, don't break it, you know what I mean. Break the bolt, and then just twist. And so I'm hoping this part will just slide out nicely after these are off. We shall see. Okay, that came out pretty simple. So I'm gonna put that in the middle. Now we're gonna go ahead and do this one. There we go. So to make it a little bit more even, I'm kind of lifting up on the other side. But once it's broken, you're good. No offense, Nick. This is making me appreciate Hondas, like, greatly. Beautiful car, though. Okay, let's see if this just slides off now. I'm gonna actually pick it off, pick it up. And
it looks like you slide it off at kind of an angle.
Slide it off at an angle. So I guess if you give it kind of a shimmy. Oh yeah. Okay, I see it. Guess what, guys? It came off. Dion's shaking his head. Liz didn't hit the car. Okay, so we just pulled this bracket out. Again, it was just more than a bear. It has two 10mm bolts, and they're slightly longer, and you do save at least one of these for the new install, but it basically goes all the way in deep there, and there was just, yeah, a lot of futzing around, and we figured we'd just pull it out and show you guys. So basically, that's what it looks like. Let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and pull out this fresh air duct. It's not a duck that quacks, it's a D-U-C-T. Okay, and so there's a tab on it, which I already disconnected, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and pull it out, and that's where that tab is. Okay guys, so this is pretty cool. Remember that split tube we weren't sure where it was gonna go? It actually goes on this metal piece right here to protect the air filter. So let's go ahead and put it on. Beautiful. There we go. Okay, intake bracket time. So you're going to use the front hole, 10mm, with that 10mm bolt, one of them that you took off the last bracket. And they say for positioning, just keep it loose until everything's together, but this is eventually what it's going to look like. Okay, now we're going to connect the smaller elbow to the bracket. You don't want to bend the bracket back all that much. You don't want to bend it, and so keep one hand on it. And you also want to put either a little bit of soap and water on the inside or perhaps some Windex just to make it a little bit more pliable. And what we're going to do is fit it from the bottom first and then come up. So, whoops. So you're going to have to, oh, perfect. And I always like the logo up, just I think it looks kind of cool. So that's the way I did it. Well, actually, I don't think it'll fit any other way either. So, okay, moving on. Okay guys, well now the MAF sensor is back in. This took a lot of finagling, so you got to be careful. And then also before you put that on, this will save you a lot of time. Remember, the clamps. Put the clamps on first and then the MAF. And I like tightening them so they're kind of in a similar position to each other. I just think it looks a lot cleaner. Okay. Okay guys, sorry. One last thing. The grid that you'll see when you peek in, you can't see it once it's on, should be pointing towards the air filter side. Okay, and you guys see that arrow there? That just means that this side should point towards the turbo inlet. Now we're ready to put on the big tube. So as always, don't forget your clamp. I kind of put it on a little bit tight right now just to get it out of the way. And we're gonna put it up like this and then shift it down. It's just a lot easier to put it on pointing up. Okay, so we're coming down in here. And again, remember it's a little tight in here. And you don't, be careful if you have your hand underneath the bottom because you will pinch yourself. There we go. And you'll see I oriented the clamp just like the other two. So it's just gonna look so nice when it's on. Okay. And then we'll go like that, but we'll do that in the next step. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and connect the hose up to the turbo side. But before we do that, we're actually just gonna kind of work it on a little bit close right there. It's not completely on yet. So we can go ahead and snap this into place. And so this, I don't want to break it. It should just go on. Yeah, it's at a weird angle, so you may have to shimmy it. And it should click, you'd think. Okay, it actually, no, it's not on. Okay, we're gonna call that good. I'm gonna go ahead and put this hose back on, the sensor, or the vacuum hose, sorry, and then push this on further. Okay, so as you can see, we're almost done. We managed to get this firmly on. It took a lot of shimming because this has to be on almost completely before this actually attaches back. And since we didn't want to reuse the washer from the factory, we went ahead and gave it a gold tooth. So that was a lot easier to use. But basically the name of the game is definitely leaving this bracket loose so that you can come in, shimmy, make sure it's tight, clamp it down, shimmy, clamp, shimmy, and then we put the clamp on the side, which is where the only place it'll fit basically. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put this tubing back on. So this is a barbed fitting right here, and you'll definitely want to put a little bit of soap on it to make it a little bit more pliable, and you don't need a clamp. So you want to be careful on this part though. You will be holding on to this as you put the tubing on, but you don't want to break it off because this is plastic. So we're just going to be super duper careful. And this is where the soap definitely comes in handy. Beautiful. It is all the way on. Okay, let's put this connector back on. So remember, it will go on with a click, but then you have to set the red button back. Perfect. Now we can go around, make sure there's enough clearance. It's not hitting the fan. It's not hitting any of the other cables, belts, what have you. And then we can go ahead and tighten everything completely. Okay. Number one, when putting this in, or actually a couple of things, this is super delicate, so you don't want to bung it up somewhere. And also, never forget the clamp. We actually had to switch it around because first they had it on this side, the screw part, and there's no way you'd be able to reach it down there. So make sure it's on the far side. And again, we almost had to look up how to put this in because we were trying various, ways to do it, and we thought maybe we'd have to take off half of this, but nope. It basically slips in just like this. Perfect. Okay, so this is in. I'm going to go ahead and, work it in a little bit further and then go ahead and tighten the clamp. Okay guys, so one last thing. Everything is completely on. It looks great. Just make sure this connector doesn't hit the harness or the hood once it's closed. So you may have to angle it a bit further down by twisting. Well guys, thanks so much for joining me on this Alfa journey today. I'm super excited for my friend. This intake just looks freaking sick. Just with the little red accents, I know it's the label, but it matches the Alfa logo on the plastic piece. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun to drive now. So as always, thank you so much for watching this episode of R&D Garage. Thank you again for subscribing. Hit that subscribe button, for liking, commenting, and sharing my videos. We are coming back with more content very, very soon. Take care, you guys.